I believe it was Mexico against Italy, where it was like toe on toe the entire time until like the final last minutes.
That was a good game. That was a good game. Didn't decide who was winning the water pretty much the whole entire game. Kept going back and forth.
Yeah, it was fun.
That was a great game. That was a great game.
Even though there were like only 4 whales or something, but still.
Like, Izad's lost it. No, Izad's lost the water now. Oh no, he's just got 2 figures out of nowhere. Yeah, great game.
Yeah.
Great game.
Goes back and forth. I love these games where both water and land are engaged.
Lots of APM. Lots of APM. I think we just give a shout out to TACCAF and Microsoft for sponsoring this tournament. Both of them absolute legendary organizations for sponsoring this. How old is this game now? I want to say
at least 15 years,
17?
Maybe even more.
Yeah, at least 15 years. I think it's about 17. I think it came out in 2005, so that's what, 17 years. Sponsoring a 17-year-old game and giving a 10,000. We've got a 9,000 prize pool for this game. Absolutely legendary. So yeah, shout out to Microsoft and TACCAF. Thank you very much. Who we've got in the next game, Nicius? Do you know?
Oh, we have Julian and Minimoult.
Oh,
the JulianK himself. Trying to attempt to climb the ladder.
Yeah. I'm going to try my absolute hardest not to be too biased towards Minimoult. That's not just because Julian knocked me out of the tournament on one of the days, you know. Both very, very good players. Really, this is going to be another. I mean, to be honest with you, we're in the finals, right? This is the final stage, round 8, right? Is it? So you know, every game's going to be crazy good and the best of the best. So, but this one's going to be particularly good. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, so am I. Okay, so it's Malta against Italy. JulianK will be Malta and Minimoult will be Italy. Keep in mind that those are all blind picks, so no counter picks whatsoever throughout the entire series.
We've seen Minimoult's Italy before. We've seen the damage it can do, and the last round I saw him play, how impressive it was. I think it was against I can't remember who he played, but it was an Italy mirror, and he just showed his absolute dominance with that civilization. I think we've also had changes since the last time Minimoult played as well, so no doubt that Minimoult's going to be utilizing those changes. I think it's fair to say somewhat of a buff Italy have received since the last patch. So we'll see what Mini does.
Yeah, a lot of indirect and direct stuff to Italy. Small little changes can snowball to a big, huge change. Beginning to those cheap attacks in the church, to the cheaper architect, all those little things add up.
The train time for architects as well. Let's be honest, Nicius. If you was to do a poll on the chat right now about if it was an overall buff or nerf, I think we know what the response would be.
Yeah. If Italy is OP now or not, everything is going to be as OP.
Yeah, that was. I have been playing Italy as well, and it's fair to say they are pretty high on the tier list, if not the highest at the moment. On this patch.
Pretty insane what little changes like that can do.
Exactly. However, I do generally really enjoy every new patch that comes out because it tends to bring the balance closer and closer every patch. So, we always like to complain about the little things, but generally, I think with each passing patch, it gets better and better.
Not only the adjustments to a better balance, but the changes to the meta. We are so used that the game is like stable and whatnot, so we can always have the 3 build orders in mind. But with the newer changes, we always have to think about new build orders, new craftings, new theory craftings that we can do about the nations that get changed, This is what makes me exciting about when DE got released. I got yes, I can make new strategies that haven't been discovered yet.
I like doing that as well. However, I then go to watch Aze's stream and I see he's invented about 10 other strategies, including one of my own.
Yeah.
I wanted to show that off, but Aze, being the genius that he is, has already done it. So
yeah. Well, you try to make one thread works, he makes 11 or 20 at least at the same time.
I call myself the poor man's Ace because, you know, that's basically who I am. So
So just a few minutes more before we can hop onto the next game. Keep tight.
I think that's fair to say, Ace, in the chat, saying, by the way, winner of this tournament gets to play me, or yeah, I think the winner should play Ace. I think that would be entertaining. I'd definitely put some money down for that.
I wouldn't say no to it. Winner plays against Bremhook. Solid point.
No, that wouldn't be fair, Brem. You'd smash them too hard.
Oh yeah, true.
You got to give them a chance, haven't you?
No one has a chance against Big Bremhook.
Yeah, he didn't sign it because he wanted to give everyone else a chance. Like, that's such a nice guy, Brem. He's such a nice guy for doing that. Chat has gone wild. And there's nothing new there, is there, Nicius?
Oh, we have finally got a game. It's now launching.
Oh, here we go.
Just a few seconds more. On Lithuania. We have a lot of TPs on each side of the map. A little ponds in the middle, so you could wall there. Potentially. Alright, so on the northwest side of the map, we have JulianK with Malta. And on the southeast side of the map, we have Minimoult with Italy. Both new civs which has been added on the recent DLC, Knights of Mediterranean. Really fun civs. I like to play them a lot. Both really good choices. Like, this map has TPs, it has good amount of hunts.
Yeah, so both of these guys kicking off the series with their compulsory picks that they have to. So that's Italy, the new DLC, Knights of the Mediterranean. So Minimoult deciding to go for Italy, and Julian deciding to go for Malta. Do they both have to? I should probably know the rules, but do they have to both pick both the new civs, or do they only have to play one of the new civs?
I actually don't know either. I'm ready.
It's just one. Okay, so I just had it confirmed it's one. So yeah, so both of these guys kicking off their compulsory picks. I have to say, I personally prefer Italy. Like we just mentioned, you know, they are very strong in the current meta. Malta aren't terrible, but Malta definitely have exploitable weaknesses. So we'll see how this pans out. You definitely don't want to let Malta just kind of go into the late game. Malta are probably one of the strongest late game civs in the game at the moment. Reason I say that is they're basically their expos and pikes are so strong in the late game. You know, even towers or forts will just get absolutely demolished by their siege attack. So definitely don't want to give Julian too much time to allow that to happen. So I'm sure Mini's going to have something in his mind. We might, to be honest with you, we could see anything. We could see some H2 play. I think we'll definitely see some fortress and maybe even industrial play. At the moment, Italy tend to be leaning towards that fast fortress, fast industrial play. So yeah, we'll see how Mini plays this, and we'll see what Julian does. I think we'll see something standard from Julian. Maybe we've got the German card, the German tongue in the deck. So I think we will see that. We'll have a look at his macro when he starts to age and see if he's going to go for some early German tongue. And then we'll have a look at Mini, and I believe Mini will just be going for currently the standard capitalism, followed by, which he is, yeah, going for capitalism. And then I imagine we'll see the standard Ufuzi first card into the 700 Lombard resource card. What do you think?
I would actually think it's the vice versa. That's you first send the 700 resource and then into the UFZ card. But it goes either way. Like Italy can play like every age and be completely fine. Age 2 with the insane 8 power VCS shipment, with the Lombards, with the 1 will per attack. Age 3 with their power VCS, which have 2 cards, but he doesn't have it in deck, which might tend to go for like an H2 and then double H sort of thing to go straight into the Pesaglieri.
So yeah, Italy, Minimoult going for the 17 village up and Julian going for the 16 village up, so that's pretty standard stuff. We'll take a look at both of their macros. So Minimoult is putting lots of villagers on wood and gold. I think that's pretty standard at the moment. What Minimoult is going to want to do, Italy players, upon aging up, they definitely want to get more techs because they get 3 villagers with each tech. So as well as skill traps and potentially placer mines, or if he hasn't already got placer mines, he's definitely going to want to go for an early architect. Architects basically build buildings for free, just at a slower rate. So the more architects you get, the quicker the buildings will be built. Like we just discussed, the latest patch, architects, I believe, are cheaper and build faster. So they definitely got a nice buff. Looks like Minimoult's now going for some Lombards. So I suspect we'll see some Lombard play here. We'll take a quick look at Julian, and like I said, going very heavy macro on the wood, so I think we're going to see German tongue come out here.
Exactly, that's how he plays it lately. I've watching him playing Malta a little bit, and he is always opting for the German tongue, because it's not only shipping yourself settler wagons, it also acts as pseudo second PC as well as a barracks, and a stable, depending on which tongue cards you send. Because of each tongue card you send, you can train in those commanderies and forts. So if you send in the H2 longbowmen, you can train them in there. If you send in the H3 cazadores, you can train it in there. And with all other tongue cards as well. Which makes them a really versatile civ.
That's right, that's right. And just to mention on that as well, I think Malta received, the last patch, Malta received nice little buffs each of the tongue cards. So most of these are the Spanish Lancers, the Cazadores, the Longbows. On average, they each received about 1 more military unit per tongue card. So that's a nice little buff. So hopefully, we might see people playing Malta. They might now be convinced to actually send more than just the German tongue card or the Spanish tongue card, which I think have traditionally been the strongest 2 tongue cards. So yeah, we'll see if there's any more kind of British tongue used, or maybe even like the Russia tongue and the French tongue. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. We are seeing the Fuzi card shipped first, so Nicius, I won that bet. Just want to put that out there.
Good, I didn't gamble.
Yeah, I do think the Fuzi card sending it first is definitely a good bet, because the quicker that's up, the more XP he will get from the Lombards when the 700 card resource is sent. So I definitely think that's the smart option. He is sending that church, that basilica, he's sending that very far out, and the reason I suspect that is just to maximize the line of sight on his base. So I really like that, because it's a very heavy duty building. I think it's got about around 5k hit points. It's going to give him a couple of really cheap useful techs, which will in turn mean he gets an extra 2 villagers at the very least. But it also gives a huge amount of line of sight, and I think that's why he's placed it so far out. So it's going to give him lots of time to react to anything Julian's going to do.
And one downside is that the Basilica has an aura which boosts the building speed, construction speed of villagers and your architects, which he doesn't have in base. Which helps a whole lot out for your architects with the free buildings and whatnot.
You make a very good point, and hopefully Minimoult understands that, and he brings the architects a little bit forward. To be honest with you, I don't know how much of a buff that is to sacrifice the line of sight. Personally, I think I'd probably want the line of sight as well, because obviously the line of sight is gonna keep an eye out for any raids that are incoming. So he's using that as a protection against his eco. So 5 musketeers coming out, they're gonna go straight for the TP. Perhaps banking on Julian really not making anything, but he's got the expos which will counter those musketeers. So that's a nice little play by Julian. I suspect Minimoult will be semi-FFing this, but also the 700 gold coming out for Julian as well. So, you know, going for that early fortress play here, considering he sent German Tongue early on, that's you know, very you know, resource intensive, and he's getting up to that age very quickly. So yeah, nice play by Julian there. I definitely think that's smart versus Italy, because that's going to allow him to get age 3 units out. So we'll take a quick look over to Mini and we'll see how he's responding, because he actually doesn't have that many musketeers out. So I suspect he's going for the fortress, which he is, using that card which allows him to age up quicker. I wonder if we'll see Julian use that at some point. We'll see if he's got a spare card. So yeah, Minimoult's definitely going to age up quicker.
And it also allows him to get 50% better age up bonuses for both 3, 4, and 5. So for this, and for the bishop, he's not gonna receive only a TC, but also 300 experience, which is almost half a shipment. And Julian gonna age up with the adventure, which is gonna provide him with a few crossbows, 8 I believe. Getting Steelers pretty late, at 8 minutes. But I assume he didn't have the resource before it, because he had to age to match the age timing from Italy. But I believe he didn't send in the faster age up card from Malta, which also makes the upgrading troops from your hospitalier from your.
He literally just sent it, and
I just sent it. Damn it!
How much resource he's going to get out of that now, I'm not too sure. It did. I think it was about 2/3 to 3/4 aged up, so he did age up a little bit quicker. However, I think he probably could have got a few more seconds out of that. However, it is going to give him the techs cheaper as well. So his expo techs, his musketeer techs, and his pike techs are going to be cheaper. So I suspect, you know, that was convincing enough to send that shipment.
It's 50 wood and 50 coin for the technologies. Pretty cheap.
Yeah, so I imagine he'll get them in very quickly. 2 falconets coming out for Minimoult. So he's got a few musketeers out. I imagine they will be upgraded at some point, and then the 2 falconets are coming out. Now, what we've seen as well recently is he'll ship the 2 falconets, he'll make a few more musketeers, and then I suspect we will see him go for industrial at some point. However, we'll see if he plays out in age 3 or not.
Sure, that's what Italy does to get the strong age 4 better clearly and the 3000 resource shipment. Slowly pushing forward with the 2 falconets, which Malta doesn't have. Malta has instead the fixed gun, which is like a better outpost or fort with a range attack. It also has a minimum range, so it can be countered pretty easily when you don't have enough army to support it. Trying the best with the hussars against the falconets. Really insane micro.
Nice
he's
round. That's a really nice round. And he's managed to pick off one of the falconets, and the other falconet's about to go down. But that's
wow.
huge.
Huge.
And now all he's got left is musketeers versus expos, and that is not the position Mini wants to be in. So we're going to see some good micro here from Julian. Absolutely brilliant flank. He has the double flank with the hussars. And just remember that the Malta's hussars are no ordinary hussars, and then the fixed gun comes in.
Fixed gun also big. Oh.
Boom, baby. You love to see it, and that is what that does best. Absolutely huge.
Wow. Speaking about Italy being OP, huh?
That was just really, really well played by Julian. Got the flank, and remember, like I was saying, the hussars from Malta are no ordinary hussars. They are order hussars, so they're a little bit more expensive, but they are better. They have better stats. So,
yeah, they have 10% more attack and more HP.
Yeah, so really well. And to be honest with you, Mini didn't even micro badly at all. You know, he got pretty much the best surround he could have got out of that. It's just the double flank from Julian was just too much. So really well played by Julian.
Not much Minimoult could have done differently. Another attention to detail Minimoult has though, getting the European natives, which both have like a big button ability just by having it. And also they have technologies which also give Italy another villager upon researching it. So it's really rewarding that map awareness and map knowledge on technologies, on the cost of technologies, on the big buttons they all have. Good old GOA right here with a little musketeers. He doesn't get any villagers though. And he's also clicking up to the industry age now.
And this is what I was talking about, you know, Minimoult doing that kind of almost like a musketeer 2 falconet semi-FF, or semi-FI rather. And so now we're going to see, likely what we're going to see is everyone's favourite unit, the Italian skirmisher. I've heard it pronounced lots of different ways, so I won't try and butcher it. I'm sure you'll do a better job than me, but we're all going to hear that wonderful horn sound
Yeah.
in the next couple of minutes, I'm sure.
Who needs cries when FS are clearly, right?
Secondary, that's it, that's the one. A very strong skirmisher, I would like to mention. However, Minimoult's not got really much out at the moment, and like I said, you don't want to give Malta too much time because they're going to get that Expo mass, and once that Age 3 card comes from the Expos that allows them to siege buildings from a distance, you're going to be in trouble. Those Lombards are going to go down pretty quickly, but it looks like he's backing up now. I wonder why that's the case.
Because he was trading with 8 musketeers, and he wants to catch them with a Sinclair crossbow mass.
Yeah, it seems like a big time investment to send your entire army back just for some raiding musketeers. Normally what you would do is you just make some more units like he's done there, which will try and catch them, but obviously wants to, maybe a slight overreaction there, but we'll see. Maybe he wants to back up, maybe he suspects the industrial and just kind of wants to remass. So.
And maybe this is exactly what Minimoult wants. He wants time for this 8 forge shipments to come in, for the Berserk Lady, for the Bombards, for the 3 Falconets, for the Paper Lancers, for all the big insane shipments he can send in.
Yeah, so aging up with that card that allows him to age up quicker. It also gives him better benefits from each age up ever since he sends it. So from now on, he's going to get more benefits, about a 50% benefit from each age up. So normally you would age it with 2 Falconets. However, that card's going to allow him to age it with 3 Falconets. So that's a huge power spike. Building some Papal Lancers, potentially making some more Musketeers. And then I think we're going to see the Berserkleries coming out, which we are. So yeah, this is going to be a huge power spike for Minimoult here.
I'm gonna see how Julian responds to this. If he's gonna age himself, he's gonna try to out-eco him somehow. Or stick to H3 with Culverins. As he has still the map control at the moment. And if he can starve him out of resources, it could be a good way to suppress the Italian economy. But the one tricky thing is that Italians have the Lombards, which can convert resources. So even if you are out of mines or hunts, you can convert those resources to get, you know, either food or coin, whatever your heart desires. He got the TC up. He's treating with his Berserk Lady. But his army is sort of caught off guard with Berserk Lady on one side and Musketeers and Falcons on the other. But getting huge volley of these 3 Falconets.
So the Papal Lancers diving into the Expos, that's going to be huge, whilst the Hussars were distracted by the Italian skirmishes. 3 Falconets, they're firing properly, which will huge damage to those Expos as well, but it looks like Julian's gone for some Culverins, so that's absolutely huge, and they're going to hit those Falconets just before Minimoult's own anti-artillery Culverins going to come in as well, so that's massive for Julian, that's absolutely massive.
That's a pretty experience for you. The Cove Mastery.
Yeah. So those Culverins really are rendered almost useless now. It did allow him to take down Julian's Culverins, but the Culverins from Julian already did what they needed to do, which was take out the Falconet. So that was just unfortunate timing for me, but really nice timing and micro by Julian. Now he's got to deal with all these Expos, and those 4 Culverins are going to go down. That's a whole shipment in Age 4, so that's a really nice catch for Julian.
Exactly. And Julian has really superior mass. 56 military population compared to 5, which is like nothing. If he continues to hit those shipments one by one, it's gonna be really hard for Italians to come back from this. And sending the free, and taking the free 1,500 resources for every lost unit.
Yeah, so perfect timing to send that in. The longer you wait and the more units you lose, the stronger Trip to Jerusalem is. So yeah, using that at a really nice time, and those resources is just going to go dunk right into his resource pool. So yeah, nice timing by Julian there. He is now, for probably the first time in the game, ahead in score, and so that's how tough it is just to get ahead in score against Italy. So we'll see what he's continuing to make expos and order hussars. We'll see if he mixes in anything else. I would probably like to actually see some falconets of his own here.
Yeah, pretty curious about what he does, how he responds.
Nice
Marta
there.
still has the entire map. Go on.
Okay. Great raid by Julian there, and to be honest with you, he's like I said at the beginning of the game, you don't want this expo mass to just creep up and up and up, because it's just going to get to a point where it's just this huge snowball that's rolling down a hill, and you're just never going to be, no matter how much you touch it, it's just never going to be killable. Italian skirmishers are very strong, and they have that horn ability when they kill an enemy unit, and that will stun another unit. However, the mass of the expos is just, I can't see at this stage how Mini's going to deal with it. He needs artillery. He needs something like heavy cannons to try and deal with this expo mass.
And I'm afraid that Italy doesn't have the answer quite yet. He's trying a Huss switch. Oh no, that's Julian's. He's adding hussars for the Versaglieri. Oh, he's sending actually the paper bombards.
Oh, that could be big.
Could be huge.
Could be big. We've all seen what they can do. They're pretty much the strongest artillery in the game. Maybe joined with the Ottoman bombards, it's pretty close, but these Papal bombards are pretty much the strongest in the game, and they will do huge damage to that expo mass. So we'll see what the micro turns out to be. Or are they going to fire? Are they going to get boomed? Oh. 5 go down in 1 hit. That's huge.
And another volley. Oh, they got another hussar.
Oh, yeah. Fortunately,
oh, he has culverins though.
He has culverins and hussars, which is going to counter those Papal bombards. One
down. And the other one goes also down.
The others go flying into the house. Minutemen coming out now as well. He's still got some skirmishes out, Mini, but that's just not going to be enough to get this huge expo match. And these expos are in there now, and they're just going to take down everything in sight.
Yeah. Now just going against really stacked crossbows. The 2% per shipment, as well as all the cards he can send. He's trying his best to go raid with the paper lancers, but the economy is still very important.
Just dropped, and that's going to do some really good damage to those expos. However, order hussars and goons coming in now. We'll see how well these Papal lancers do. He needs to focus the expos. He really needs to focus on the expos. Yeah.
Exactly.
I just think they're just going to go down. They're very tanky. They have at least 1,000 HP, those Papal lancers. Yeah, I think just going to go down. And then once they're down, yeah, really doesn't have much of an answer. He's sending in a resource shipment now, but what he needs is units ASAP. He needs to fend off this army from Julian.
Exactly, and that's what they do now. Another lancer shipment. Does if 2 weren't enough. Gonna send another one.
I mean, it's definitely the right play.
Yeah, for sure.
Doing some more raids as well, which is going to distract Julian. So that, it's a nice play by Mini. He knows he needs to do something other than just defend this. So he's been as frustrating to Julian's economy as possible. The scores are still pretty tight, I have to say. However, it does look like Julian's got the advantage at the moment. The skirmishers, the Versaglieri are going to be able to hit and run the expos to a degree. When he gets to you kind of get to a critical mass at some point during this stage of the game where you kind of stop doing that and you just kind of let your units go on attack move because it's more effective. So yeah, again, the later this goes on, the less and less the Italian military is going to be effective.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the bonus for getting 2% on each and single card you send. You're getting at some point H4 stats on like H3 crossbowmen. In terms of HP.
I mean, Mini's defended that pretty well. It looks like Julian is going to be going back, retreating to his base. He does have the map control. The only disadvantage at the moment is that he is down in age. He is up in score. Those Papa Lancers catching about 10 expos there, and they're just going to, even more than 10 expos, about 15 there, and they're just going to clean them up for free. Really nice catch there.
Are the Hussars gonna be able to catch them off guard? And Dragoons. One thing to keep in mind is that they have the deflect ability, so when you damage one Paper Lancers, the damage gonna be split out to every single unit in a defined area. So it's gonna be very hard to deal with a mass of Paper Lancers.
Once again, we've got another little bit of a skirmish. Julian is pulling away a little bit with the score. Those Hussars, Mini's just really struggling. He's building lots of skirmishers. He's got a few musketeers there, but he really hasn't been building, for my liking, enough anti-cav, and that's really, been his all down here, because you've seen that Julian is building all the Hussars, from the commanderies, and really hasn't been making too hard counters to them.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing and calling those Paper Lancers over and over and over again. But they're just gonna keep dying on the Hussars. And the huge crossbow mass, which has been stacked on like 5, 6, 7 shipments.
Yeah, again, really nice play by Julian. He just has too much mass, really, and he's not giving Minimoult an opportunity to get any of his own sort of mass to be able to deal with this army. So he is on berries as well, Mini. So Mini really struggling with the map, hasn't really got any herds. Going to be running out of gold mines, just can't get enough resources, can't build enough mass, and it's not looking good, and I think we might see a GG call here very soon.
Yeah, his Explorer died and said, every single life of my life is agony. That's like how Minimoult is feeling now.
Pretty much for everyone's core Explorer, pretty much every single game.
Yeah. Now he's destroying the key buildings. His like entire economy, the Lombards.
Yeah, so this and there's the GG. Wow, well played to Julian. Played that really, really well. I mean, pretty much won every big fight, every big skirmish that the two had. Julian sort of came off better. So well played to him. He had particularly those 3 falconets that got destroyed by Julian's culverins early on. When Minimoult had just staged up to Industrial, just before Minimoult's 4 culverins of his own came. So rendered those 4 culverins pretty much useless, and the 3 falconets went down, and that was pretty much the only counter Mini had against all those expos. And I think ever since that skirmish, he just couldn't get a big enough mass, he couldn't get any tempo going. And yeah, well played to Julian, just microed really well and utilized the Malta Civs bonuses, which was just, the expos, the Order Hussars, really, really well. Perfect, beautiful flanking as well at the first skirmish with the 2 falconets and the musketeers. Just the double flank from the Order Hussars with the expo mass was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of the best micro I've seen since a long time. To snipe out the falconets, which happened in the middle of the musketeers even. He baited out the musketeers so he can split out, so he can engage again and snipe the Falks due to the pathing. Really good.
Yeah, well played to Julian. So we'll shortly be kicking off into the second game. I will just take a quick break, Nicius, so I'll be right back in a couple of minutes.
All right. Okay, Chad, what was your final moment? Oh no, we have actually the fifth pick now. It's a France mirror. Interesting. Now keep in mind, those are blind picks, so the opponent doesn't know what the opponent picks. Could be interesting. Who's going to be the master of the 5 semi-fast waters? And France is a Civ which really relies on mastering the basics. Like, if you don't have the basics burned in your mind, the France civilization will show it. I seen, yeah, French Mirror. Some love it, some hate it. I personally like it. One of my more favorite mirrors out there. A matchup you understand. Yes, a good old legacy matchup, doesn't it? So every old player, every long-time following player that knows what to expect.
Yo, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Loud and clear.
Is my mic sounding better now, guys?
Much better.
Good. For some reason, and I don't know why, Discord just likes to randomly change my mic settings for absolutely no reason whatsoever. So I do apologize if it sounded like I was in a bathroom somewhere, in a public bathroom. People in chat were saying.
I'm glad to have you back, man. The original Lionheart, not the cheap copy of you.
Bathroom line, yeah. The jokes are coming, I'm sure. But yeah, great, cool. So what we're seeing, we've got a French mirror, not something you see every day. Kind of a shout out to my days back in vanilla when this was definitely quite a more popular mirror. So yeah, Mini, this is going to be a good one. I'll let you do the introductions, Nicius.
All right, so on the south side of the map, we have JulianK, the color blue, as France. And, no surprise, surprise, in the north side, in the red color, we have Minimoult, also playing as France. No surprises here. So how do you think the matches will evolve? Is it just gonna be 5 fast, semi-fast watches, or do they gonna do something cheeky and take the natives?
Well, we saw what Minimoult is capable of in, I think, his last series, where he did play the French, and he utilized I can't remember the name of the Cav European natives. I'm sure someone, the Jigelian, I believe, the Jigelian. And we actually see the House of Jigelian in this map. So that's potentially why Minimoult has wanted to pick the French here, because we might be seeing a reoccurrence of that strategy. And I think it's fair to say when we saw it with all the native cards in his deck, and we will check his deck shortly, how just dominating that strategy was, and no one's seen it before. So yeah, I think that was, I have to say as well, that was one of my favorite games of the tournament so far. Just seeing all the native text used, and we see the native text in his deck. So nice. I really think we're gonna, hopefully we see this again. It'll be interesting to see if Julian saw that game and goes for a counter. To be honest with you, his best counter is probably, in H2 at least, is going to be Expos. So we'll see if Julian decides to go for Expos, because if he tries something like a 5 Hussar semi, I think he's going to be in a world of pain. So I'm really excited to see what Mini's going to do here.
Really excited about this match. Because you rarely ever see natives being used well, and this is one of the matches where you can actually take notes on your notepad whenever you want to play natives with France.
I took notes from Minimoult's last game when he did the Jigelian G, and to be honest with you, I still have no idea how he pulled it off. Now, if we have a look at the Jigelian, now there's 2 units from the Jigelian native that you can build. So I believe they are the Shock Rider and the Lipta Tartar. So he's going to, if he does go for the native strategy, he's going to utilize both of those cav units. One is a cavalry archer, and the Shock Rider is like a bit of a glass cannon type lancer unit. So those 2 units together, and he proved this in his last series, they are a really good combination, and they have an extremely high damage output. So yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not sure how a French player, Julian, will respond. He's going to need either a lot of Expos and Pikes, because I don't think Musketeers are going to cut it, or he's going to have to try and get up to Fortress Age as quickly as possible to try and get those goons, skirmisher, the classic skirm goon comp in Age 3.
Even shipping exotic hardwoods, he's really all in with native use here, which is like a free log flume from the market.
Yeah. I mean, how often do you see this, used, particularly by France? And remember, he's still in Age 1. What he's done to be able to get a second card in Age 1, he's gone for a starting TP. That will be at the detriment of early market techs, but it does mean he gets more XP. So he really wants to utilize all the native decks, and I believe there's about 4 native cards that he can use, which will upgrade the House of Jagelian units. So I think, again, like we saw with the last series, he's gonna have those huge power spikes where he's gonna want to ship at least 2 of the native upgrade cards before he really pushes in. But I believe we saw the free native card that gives you a shipment of natives from each native outpost you have. Native treaties, that's the one. So I don't know if we're going to see that one again. I suspect we might not see that unless he goes for the second TP, the native TP. However, we will wait and see, because there's so much going on with the explorers. I can't see who. There's a lot of natives being built or native line of sights being taken. So that's Minimoult building the House of Jagelian up there. And then we've seen Julian go for a standard TP, and that's something you see standard with France. The transition from Age 1 to 2, they will go for a TP. So I think we're going to see some standard play by Julian, but Minimoult's definitely going to go for something funky here, and I am all for it.
Oh yeah, I'm all ears. I'm all eyes. I'm all everything.
Yeah, all the senses are going to be stimulated. I suggest all of chat has all of their senses free, because you're going to be in for a treat here.
Yeah.
So Minimoult does have 2 TPs now, 2 native TPs,
and native treaties on the way.
Native treaty is coming. Okay, so that's great. So he has gone for 2 native posts. So we are going to be seeing that, and that's going to basically give him a free shipment of units per native settlement that he has. So it's a really strong early spike of units, especially if you've got at least 2 native TPs. So it's definitely going to be worth the resources. It's all going to be about how he utilizes those units.
And he's out against the technology, which gives him additional armor for his cav units. I believe 10% range resist, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and that's not something to scoff at. That's actually really big, and that's gonna just allow the survivability of his cav just to remain in the game. And the more range resist, the more likely the cav are gonna survive, and the bigger the tempo. And it just has that snowball effect. Yeah, really nice 10% ranged armor tech coming in there. It's really what I like. Oh, and they're the cav. So
that's a lot of units. Holy.
Yeah, so we've got how many? I can't even count. So we've got 2, 4, 6. So we've got about 7 archer cav and 1 shock rider. So think about the resources while there. And he's got those like musketeer units, I believe.
That's nice. So he kills the Jedi Guardian just to get promoted. That's a nice little detail.
Really, and that is definitely, I believe that's over 700 resources, which is the standard in Age 2. Getting even those line infantry, those line musketeers in there. So yeah, really, really huge resource-wise card there. So he's really going to get some benefits. And we'll see what's going to happen now. 5 musketeers coming out from Julian. So this is kind of something standard. I imagine we'll probably see like semi-musketeer FF play here by Julian, and those musketeers are gonna get cav. That shot rider coming in, doing insane amounts of damage. It's gonna get the snare, and those Lipton Tartars are just gonna do insane damage from the back line. More musketeers coming out from Julian here. Really nice catch by Mini here. Really, really nice catch. And they have such an insane rate of fire. Yeah.
He has line infantry even in the back, which also deal a lot of damage against infantry.
You got to treat them as almost they're basically musketeers, right? And they have really good attacks. So yeah, just I think they might be even stronger than standard musketeers. So again, yeah,
because of the range resist and more range, fast rate of fire, all those little things that up.
just make a big difference. And yeah, so what he's done there, that's really nice catch. He killed about 5 or 6 musketeers there. That's going to really slow Julian down, and it means he's going to have to, it's forced a response from Julian. So Julian is definitely going to need to tighten up his defenses. He is now building a little wall, which is really cute. I do like that. So it's going to make it more difficult for the Cav to get some path in around the building. So that's a really nice response from Julian. We'll take a quick look at Julian just to see if he's deciding to build more units, or he's going for the fortress, and he's decided to, I think, build more units. He is macroing quite high on gold, but maybe he wants Cav, or maybe he's going to just put everyone on food, and maybe he really wants to get to the fortress edge, which it looks like it is, but that's going to take some time. So Minimoult should see that he's not building many units, and he's good. So Mini really wants to pick his moment, and just kind of really do as much damage to the eco of Julian, whilst potentially aging up behind it himself.
Exactly. And while also having like a lot of line of sight on the map, having those 2 TPs almost, it may be possibly upgrading his update code if he's greedy enough. Aging with excitement.
Yeah, so the age-up's coming in for Julian now, whilst Minimoult is just doing his own thing. He's continuing to build natives, more native cards coming in from the tech. You'd love to see it. So his natives are going to be, that's the first native cards that he sent. I imagine we'll start to see more cards, native cards sent. So yeah, I think we're going to have a huge power spike incoming from Mini very, very shortly. And I think as soon as he sees Julian with that age-up, as soon as that comes, I think he's going to be diving in there.
And France is actually the only Civ, okay, besides Inca, to have 8 3-stats for natives in H2. If they send both native combat cards in H2 and H1. So they can definitely fight H3 units in H2, without any doubt.
Oh yeah, and I've got a smile on my face because those shock cavalry, if they get in there and they get the snare on, they're going to do huge amount of damage. It doesn't matter how many musketeers he's got, those shock riders are going to do huge amount of damage. Oh, and he's found right Julian lagging. What was Julian doing? He's just wandering. He's taking a midnight stroll. And just those shock riders are just going to make short work with everything there. Oh,
dude, they're going to get promoted to heaven.
That's another thing we haven't fully mentioned. Those shock riders they benefit from promotions, so yeah, they're going to have huge damage. I think there's some goons coming out, but the shock riders are in perfect position to get the snare on, and that's really unfortunate for Julian. As long as he's got those tartars at the back doing those damage against the goons, the shock riders are doing damage against the Cavs. So that's really good micro by Mini here. As long as he can take those goons down. Oh, it's going to be close. The musketeer getting sent again just to tank up more damage. That's nice micro by Julian. But is it going to be enough?
It's close.
There's a lot going on. I can't see what's going on. I don't know how many villagers are going down, but those villagers from the gold mine are just, he's leaving them out there. Maybe he wants to just tank with them, and he's not too worried about losing 1 or 2. It looks like he's done some good damage. Has he done enough, though? That's the thing. He hasn't taken any infrastructure down. I think Julian's still got a decent amount of villagers, so it's all about whether he's done enough damage. And the follow-up from Mini, what is the follow-up going to be from him? I would say he needs to age, and it looks like the age is in. So this is what I was saying, Mini has decided to go for the natives. He's played it out in age 2. He wanted to do some damage before he ages up, whilst Julian decided to go for the faster age. So it's whether or not Mini has done enough damage to Julian.
And Julian still has the economic advantage, or about 3 villagers. While we speak.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But the one thing you have to take into consideration as well is the tempo that Mini has kind of neutralized from Julian. French is very much, like Germany. They're especially when they play Fortress Age or Fast Fortress, they have they want to play with their tempo. They want their age up units. They want the goons. They want their age up skirms, the card skirms. And if you neutralize that early on, France will struggle to get that tempo back. So Mini has invested really heavily into his native tech, which is slightly why his score is lagging, I think. That the score won't take into consideration all the techs that Minimoult has invested into his natives. So that's one thing you've got to take into consideration. So the scores aren't going to be completely truthful. And I think if Mini can add some skirmishers to his mass here, I think he's going to be in a really strong position.
Yeah, then he has essentially a 3-unit composition. Strong cavalry, good dragoons, and as well as his strong skirmishers.
Yeah, so that's really, this is going to be interesting. And I think another big factor that we haven't mentioned as well is all about the 2 Falconet play. Often with mirrors like this, it always comes down to the 2 Falconets versus 2 Falconets and who can destroy the 2 Falconets better. Those Shock Riders really don't want to be caught lagging with just goons because they're going to make short work of those Shock Riders. He's going to lose 1, he's going to lose 2. As long as he doesn't lose another 1, he might be okay. Okay, that's fine. That's not too bad. He did get some scouting with that shock infantry, and it's that happens when you go for the raid. However, Julian's tempo, that snowball is starting to build up for him. He's got a lot of skirms there. Mini's going to need to do something to deal with those skirms. The native, I don't know which native ability that is, but it's beautiful in my ear holes.
It was the one which rebalances all your resources equal.
Okay, great. So yeah, that's an interesting tech. It's somewhat of a niche, I believe. It's not always useful, but obviously Mini has wanted to use it, and maybe he was over eating there, and that rebalanced the resource stockpile for him. But that's good. He is as well. One thing with the other native tech will give him a free Hussar, a free Magyar Hussar, and the longer you wait, the more units it will give you. So that is something to bear in mind as well. So I do think we'll see a big power spike. He's waiting for that native tech to come in, and there'll be a big power spike with that. And there it comes. There it comes. I'm not sure where it's come out from. We're struggling to find it. There they are. Two Magyar Hussars, like almost
carded with native combat.
Exactly. So he is also going to get a musketeer, I believe, with it. So yes, that's a really nice spike, and they're going to tank a lot of damage. He does need some more skirms. He needs some more goons himself. Natives, I don't think are going to be enough by themselves. Oh,
losing a lot of units for free there. And those Mega Hussars are going to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
Not a good engagement. He shouldn't take this.
No, he lost a lot there. I'm not sure what he was doing that far forward. Again, he's gone into Julian's base twice now, and he's really been punished for it. And I don't think there was kind of any benefit from it. I don't believe he got any raids there. So that's a bit unfortunate for Mini, and that's going to hurt his tempo now. Julian's, there's a lot of skirmishes out there. There's a fair few goons out. The 2 Falconets, I believe, have just come out. So, how is Mini going to respond to these Falconets and skirm mass?
Maybe he's going to out-micro Julian. Do the trick on him. With the 2 flank Hussars.
I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but, Minimoult is, one of the best players in the game. He has extremely good micro himself, and I know that personally after playing him, countless times. So, we can't count him out just yet. Nice raid coming in, though. A nice little wall there that does save Julian's villagers, so that's a great little wall there, utilizing the pillarless walls. That's nice. 2 Falconets as well coming out. Oh, he wants to make sure that they don't get found out. Are those 2 Falconets going to get caught wandering? They are. Julian.
Yes, no.
Julian's just decided to miss it for some reason. Bit of a missed micro there by Julian. I'm sure the goon's line of sight would have been in range. 2 Falconet battle is out now. The Shock Riders and the Magyar Hussars are going to get in there. Okay, there's 1 Falconet goes down. If you can get the second one, that's going to be huge. Nice. Okay,
go down.
Huge.
Wow.
That's really huge. Does have his own 2 Falconets now, so that will take care of the skirmisher mass. Really nice micro by Mini there.
See if they can get range. That is.
That's right. That's right. What's interesting as well is the comp by Mini. He's got that anti-cav is the natives, the Tartars, whilst the anti on Julian's side is the goons. So yeah, that's interesting. Goons are probably stronger I'm not sure. I'd have to double check what the fire. I think the Tartars have a quicker fire rate, so they might have a better damage output. However, they're certainly much weaker. So it's still looking good for Julian. However, he's got to find a way to deal with those 2 Falconets and I think Mini will understand this. He's down in score, he's down in eco, and he knows this. And those 2 Falconets are potentially going to be his only saving grace at the moment.
It's pretty much his winning condition to get some damage done, get some siege done, do some potential damage.
Exactly. The goons coming in, they're lurking for Julian. He's trying to find a way in against those Falconets. However, he is blocking the reinforcements coming in from Mini. That's really nice micro by Julian there. Those goons coming around, but that's a great little flank with the 3 heavy.
Again with the cap flank.
Oh, that's massive. 2 Falconets going to get 1 shot off each, and that's not going to be enough. Oh, and the goons surrounding the skirmishers, forcing them into melee mode. Wow, that's going to... I think we'll see a GG called right here.
The amount of game awareness he has, the map awareness, just really on point.
Really good micro by Julian there. Again, getting that flank in. The goons coming in from the left, and the Kurs coming in from the south, and then the everything else coming in from the north. Just really great flank from all sides there by Julian. So really picked his moment perfectly.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. Okay, so Mini not calling the GG just yet. He's down 8k score. I'm not sure what his plan is and if he thinks he's got a way to win this. I mean, you can never doubt Mini. You know, he's always in the game. But we'll see what he's going to make here. Julian is shipping in 1k gold, I believe. So we'll see what he decides to use with that.
Maybe getting some Falconets.
Could be a shout. To be honest with you, I'm not sure he needs Falconets at this stage. I mean, that would be fine. There would be absolutely nothing wrong because I don't think Mini would have the resources to kind of make any culverins. So Falconets would be a good shout. However, I think he just needs to continue to mass cavalry. Nice little raid coming in there by some shot cavalry, but that's not going to be enough.
That's a nice little jingle again.
I mean, I never get bored of that jingle.
Never.
Not really sure how much that's going to help Minimoult though. He really doesn't have. He just doesn't have enough resources. He has got a nice skirmisher mass back. That's a nice little remass, but again, it's still not enough to contest Julian. So
his economy is sort of back to toe and toe, if you consider that he has 2 TP stagecoach working for him. So if he can find a way to get back his military mass, could be in a decent spot. But getting there is a problem.
Yeah, I mean, he shipped 1k wood. I'm not really sure what he would plan on using with that wood. Maybe some TCs to try and get himself back in the game. But Julian is not going to have any of it, and he's going to say, nope, I'm sitting on your TC and I'm destroying everything you have, which is definitely the right play by Julian. Just getting whittled down now. He's trying desperately to get
that's the GG called.
Out, but it's not going to be enough, and the GG is called. Well played to Julian.
2-0.
Yeah, just really well played by the micro against that last big fight, just destroying those 2 Falconets with just a flank from every angle. Just, you know, beautiful micro. Mini just unfortunately didn't have enough anti-cav, and that really cost him. I think one big mistake, well, a couple of big mistakes that Mini made that game was he was trying to raid often that game a lot with his natives and his shock riders, and he just wasn't picking anything off. And it was to his detriment because the goons were picking off lots of those native cavalry units, and I think that just whittled down his mass enough. So he just really had, you know, Minimoult didn't have any tempo, and he really didn't have those units in a big fight, which was a shame because he invested so much into those natives. Unfortunately, by the end stage of the game, they just weren't utilized.
Yeah, at the end of the game, they were just skirmagoon.
Yeah, but again, well played to Julian, going 2-0 up.
Wow. On a winning streak here. There's someone saying Mini's more handsome.
I did I was about to say that as well. I mean, I don't think they come much more handsome than Mini, to be quite honest with you. So that's no surprise. No offense to Julian.
I was saying Mini has played both games. Julian has a bigger brain, that's okay.
We've even got Supremacy players being called out in the chat by Jaeger, saying it looks like we need to come over to Treaty to learn how to micro. I mean, that stings, and I'm hoping
That's a
my
bold
boys...
statement.
That is a bold statement. I'm hoping my boys in chat aren't going to take that lying down. Or fight my corner, lads. Where are the Supremacy players at?
All right, next game is about to start. It's Germany against Dutch. JulianK as his main nation, as German himself, playing Germany. Minimoult as Dutch.
Another classic. Another absolute classic. I feel like I've gone back in time about 10 years and I'm playing vanilla all over again.
Yeah. No, the easiest so far. So, on the south, we have JulianK, also known as Floco, the treaty god himself, as color blue in German. As Germans, I say. And on the north side, we have Minimoult playing as Dutch in the color red. Divided by the river. By the lake. And what I saw on this map and the Sith picks so far.
Oh, well, it looks like we've got a little bit of lag going on. Is that going to be fixed? Is there something wrong with the game?
Yeah?
Hopefully that's...
Klaar.
Okay, looks like there's a bit of a bug going on, guys. We are going to confirm with Julian and Minnie to see if the game is going on. However, this is a known bug, so hopefully the game is going to continue and we might be able to restart it. However, we may have to move on, which is unfortunate. But bear with us 2 secs, guys, and we will find out for you.
Let's hope for the best.
Yeah, but you know, just what we were saying about these picks. You know, I'm somewhat of a Dutch enjoyer myself, so I am, you know, very aware of how you know, maybe difficult or easy this matchup potentially is. It tends to be. I say before the Dutch nerf, it was 50-50, I would say. But I think with the nerf, maybe it's slightly favoured towards Germany. It's certainly a difficult, tight matchup for Dutch. It's difficult to deal with the amount of Ulan mass. So yeah, we're just going to quit out of that, and then I think they're rehosting.
Yep. That's exactly what they do. The legendary Dutch nerf.
The legendary Dutch. No, I'm glad Harrison's not in the chat at the moment because you know,
gonna
we
be
would
so
certainly
mad.
be hearing about it. Yeah. So bear with us 2 minutes and we'll try and get that back up. Yeah. So this matchup, Dutch, what they tend to do. I mean, there's a couple of options for Dutch. I mean, they can even start Cav themselves, so they can kind of do like a semi Hazard. They can. What I like to do is try and go for like a pike semi. Which can definitely work. So you kind of make 5 pikes, maybe a bit more, maybe 5 skirmishes on top of that, and then just try and get up to age 3 to get your router skirm mass as quickly as possible. That tends to work well for me. However, you know, there's also other options for Germany. They can do tower rush, which can definitely be effective, or what they tend to do is go for a Ulan semi. So yeah, we'll see what they choose to do here. Okay.
While
Loading
waiting,
it back up.
be right back.
Such a handsome picture by Minimoult there. Looking like he's going for a job interview. To be fair, I think looking at both those pictures, it looks like Minimoult is going for a job interview, whilst Julian is going to be the boss that's holding the interview. that's how I'm seeing these pictures here. So, respect to both these guys giving those pictures. They're absolutely great pictures. We love to see it. Or Big Jerry in the chat. Pretty sure we've played this matchup before, Jerry. The Dutch-German matchup. I know there's a few more of you I've played this matchup with as well. Definitely not easy for Dutch. There's a lot to look out for in this matchup, but still definitely winnable for Dutch. I would say maybe like a 55-45 to Germany in this matchup. White collar versus blue collar, indeed. I would like to know Minimoult's dentist, though. I would like him to send me their number over, because they are some very pearly whites. I wouldn't mind some pearly whites myself. Drink far too much tea. And here we are, loading up the game again. Hopefully it goes a lot better this time and we don't get any delay bugs. Nicius will be with us. He's just be right back.
Yes.
So
I am actually.
Oh, he's back. You're back.
Perfect timing.
Good stuff.
Perfect
Good
timing.
timing. Yeah.
I don't know my timings in game, but this timing is on point.
You're just in time for the introductions.
Okay, so at the north we have this time around JulianK, also known as Flurko, Pretty God, as I said earlier, with the Germans going for the market start, while we have in the south Minimoults with the Dutch and the color red.
I love the grandiose Julian intro you gave there.
Yeah, all right.
Mini just gets a sad, yeah, and here's Mini.
Here's a Mini. There you go.
So yeah, I really enjoy this matchup, particularly being a Dutch main myself. So and it's a classic vanilla matchup. So we've seen this matchup for years and years and years, and it's always a fun one. Germany obviously get their free cavalry with every shipment, whilst Dutch get their banks and definitely get a very strong eco early on in the game. It's all about Germany have to be the aggressor here. 9 times out of 10, Germany will always be the aggressor here, and they need to hurt Dutch. They need to be able to hurt their eco, so whether that's taking banks down, or whether that's taking villagers down, or whether that's hurting his infantry enough. And then what Germany like to do is, once they've hurt the economy of Dutch enough, they like to follow that up with a fortress age, and then we all seen Germany's huge tempo mass that they get in age 3. They have insane age 3 cards, like the 9 Uhlans, 8 Uhlans, all the skirmisher shipments, and then they like to kind of just overmass versus the Dutch. Whilst we take a look at the Dutch's deck, that's a pretty standard deck. We've got the 700 wood, the 600 wood, the bank card. They're going to be the 3 main cards we're likely to see first in age 2. We may see some 8 pikes used. It depends on if Mini feels like he needs enough anti-cavalry. We'll take a quick look over to Julian's deck. I imagine, Julian being Julian, we'll see something very standard, which that is. Very standard deck. I mean, 9 Uhlans, 8 Uhlans, 8 skirmishers, 7 skirmishers, and the 3 war wagons. I imagine we'll see them this game as well. I'm not sure if Julian is much of a tower rush enjoyer, so I think we might see some standard Uhlan kind of semi-play here by Julian, whilst Minimoult will do something like perhaps a 4-bank FF whilst making some anti-cavalry. That's my take anyway, Nicius.
That's like what I would also say. Maybe going for a stable start himself. Obviously, Dutch can't outmass Germany's mass in H2, but just to delay and defend the raids a bit, and also defend with a TC fire, or maybe some will punches for maybe a Huss semi.
Yeah, I mean, Minimoult's no stranger to doing some villager punches, so he's got very good micro for that. So we'll see what they both do. But yeah, that's my guess. The thing is with Dutch, they can't stay in age 2, and that's generally for any matchup. Dutch never want to stay in age 2 for very long unless they age it with the logistician, which allows them to build halberdiers, which I don't think Mini's going to do. We'll check to see what he's aging up with, but I highly doubt it is the logistician. No, it's the quartermaster, so they're going to be aging it with wood. So yeah, very standard play by Minimoult. Yeah, so he wants to get into age 3 as quickly as possible, and he wants to get as many banks in age 2 as possible. So we'll see what he decides to do, but I imagine we'll see lots of skirmishers and lots of routers this game. Difficult thing for Dutch in this matchup as well to mention is you need to mass lots of skirmishers, and it's difficult sometimes in early age 3 for Dutch to really maximize, the dual racks skirmishers, whilst Germany get the majority of all of their units from their shipments. Okay, so that's what Dutch have to deal with it. If they can survive the big tempo from Germany, then they tend to win the game. However, Germany's tempo is not easy to beat, so it'll be a good one.
Yeah, it's about to Germany make something happen. To make the shipment count, to make every shipment count, the Ulan shipment, to know the timings. It's pretty hard for Germany to know the timings. When to engage, when to disengage, when to raid, when to send Jägers.
Right. It's not easy on both sides. It's not easy on both sides, but I'm sure both of these guys have played this matchup numerous times before. They know what to expect. So I think a lot of this is going to come down to micro and how well Julian slows down the economy of Minimoult.
Yeah, how much you can idle to delay the banks, age ups, etc.
Exactly. So yeah, so it looks like very standard play by both. We've seen a stable go down for Julian, so he's going to do some Ulan. Still traps coming in for him, so he's doing the standard eco semi-FF by the looks of it. We'll see if he stays H2, but I highly doubt we'll see extended H2 from Julian here. Looks like an envoy may particularly get picked off by Julian. He doesn't know, he hasn't scouted Mini's base, so he doesn't know what he's going to be making. However, I think he probably could take a good guess. 2 Orlans out, they're going to take that envoy down, so that's a nice catch. Even 5 XP, but you don't want to lose those envoys, because even in H2, they give you such a huge scouting ability. They're, losing one that early is quite unfortunate. So that's a nice pickup by Julian. Wow, okay, so I take back what I said about playing standard. Mini has got a saloon down, so I don't know what to expect now. I'm lost, Nicius.
I think he's gonna try to make those arsonists, or whatever they're called. Yeah, like this one, Inquisitor. Yes, this one is like a spy and anti-cav unit in one, and it got been buffed a little bit recently for being a little bit faster. So this is a solid anti-cavalry unit.
Interesting. Maybe he's he knows what units he could make from it before he built it, right? So he definitely has an idea of what he wants to make. Okay, so it looks like he's making something at the moment. If we take a quick look at his base building, it's just absolutely beautiful design to defend against anything like a rush or any hussars, or Ulans rather. Like just imagine trying to walk into that base right now. Like the pathing, you're gonna have a migraine with all the pathing problems you're gonna have. So it's really nice base design by Minimoult here, and that's exactly what Dutch like to do. They like to use their banks, their market, and all their other buildings to kind of form a nice wall around their base, which is going to give them really good protection. So that's really nice base design by Mini there.
Exactly. To make the pathing as awkward as possible with the hitbox from the banks.
So interestingly, it looks like they've both gone for sort of a straight FF. Maybe Julian's made some Oolongs, but I don't think he has because he's already aging, and so is Mini, I believe. Amalgamation coming in for Julian now, so that's going to be really big for Germany. He's really invested all his market ups, and they're going to be up, and he really wants to get into H3, get all those really huge tempo, shipments like those, all the big Oolong shipments, all the big skirmisher shipments. So that's exactly what he wants to do, and he's got 2 TPs. So that shows he wants as much XP as possible to get all those really crazy unit shipments out. So he's sending the skirms first. Mini is going to be going up soon as well. So it's interesting to see what he's going to go for. I suspect he's built a barrack, so maybe we'll see like a skirmisher slash Black Rider composition. Maybe that's why he wanted the saloon, because he does have the Jaeger and he does have the Black Rider from there. He is building routers though, so maybe he doesn't even want any of them at all. Maybe he just used the saloon as a way of having a small gold trickle. So maybe he even just used it there for some trickle of gold. So that could be another option as well.
We actually saw him queuing in the Skrabats, which are a goon. I think just made it for a pseudo handicap military unit. So you can have anything against cavalry but pikes.
Yeah, Krabats, even though they got nerfed, they're still a strong unit. I wasn't aware from the saloon that he could actually build Krabats. So, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, just got 1 racks down at the moment and 1 stable out. He's probably going to need... generally, you want at least 2 barracks with Dutch in this matchup, because you need to really try and pump out 10 skirmishers at a time to compete with all the unit shipments that Germany has. So I imagine we'll see more than just 1 barracks or some way of getting more infantry out, whether that's the saloon or not. So, yeah, lots of cav and lots of skirmishers going to be out on the map for Julian. Not many routers out just yet, so we'll see when Julian's going to decide to make his play. He is looking to pick off some units at the moment. Probably not going to find anything, but yeah, look, already at 9 minutes, he's got the bigger skirmisher mass, he's got the bigger cavalry mass, and it's all about Dutch, how well they can play defensively until their eco overtakes and they can really use their eco to the best of their advantage and start making more units than Germany.
Exactly. And not losing too many villagers, not losing banks to aggression. And how well the herding is early game.
I think you jinxed it, Nicius. A couple of villagers going down, maybe 3. Oh, by the skin of her teeth, she survives. So 2 villagers going down. That's a really nice pickup for Julian, and he only loses a couple of skirmishes in the as a response. It's not necessarily game ending though. Like I said, Minimoult has those banks, Dutch have those banks, and that's where the majority of their eco is going to come from. Or maybe a bit of a miss micro there by Julian. I really think Minimoult should be taking more advantage of that. Really clearly didn't want his units to walk that way around the native TP, and he loses a few skirmishes for it. So that was a nice little pickup by Mini. And in this game, it's all about those small skirmishes and just picking off 1 or 2 at a time. And that just completely decides the game and who has the tempo. So that was a nice play by Mini and a small kind of pathing error by Julian there.
Yeah.
And there's no 2 Farg from each player, so they can't retake the mass by sending 2 Fargs. The skirmishes you have. You can't send in other settlements to supplement it.
Yeah, and that's what's nice about this game. Unlike kind of if there was a France in Mexico or Otto or Spain, they all have that 2 Falconet shipment, and that's what makes this particular matchup, I feel, quite unique. There's no 2 Falconets, so there's none of that laming, and whoever wins the Falconet war wins. It completely comes down to who has the better micro. That's how I feel about this matchup, and we're seeing it very standard by both, so it's all going to come down to micro.
Exactly. Getting a huge Euler mass, though, as we speak.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Oh, and it looks like this is his moment. Oh, that's a lot of upgraded cavalry.
Yeah, exactly.
And Minimoult does not want to be here. Not a lot of routers at all. No halberdiers, no pikes, no other anti-cavalry unit other than his rotors. The explorer's going to come in for Minimoult. That's really nice use of it, and that's going to get a snare on those Ullans and tank some damage. He's going to keep moving back and shooting. It's all going to be how much damage. Using that tree line as well to his advantage, that could be huge, and that's going to cause some pathing errors, but not too much. More routers going to come in, but router shipment is coming in now, but there's still so many cav coming in. Oh, and that's
Those Julian keep everything down. Wow.
every advantage Mini could have had. The tree line, the Explorer, it just wasn't enough, and wow, those Ulans did better than I thought they was going to be. Absolutely huge.
Units are somewhat underrated. In mass, they can melt a lot of units. Even Dragoons, if they can get a combat.
Wow, and that's really impressive for Julian. Just picked his moment perfectly, and I'm not really sure what Minimoult was doing that far stranded out. Just, again, taking a bit of a midnight stroll, or even a daytime stroll, and just getting caught out. If he was sitting in his base, he probably would have been okay, and he would have had more router shipments coming in. But unfortunately, he just got caught with his trousers down, and that may cost him the game here.
Yeah, he overextended a little too much, and that cost him a lot of military. He had more riders in queue. He had shipped more 9 riders as well, but he could have waited for them to arrive and had a much better trade that way.
Yeah, I mean, score's still relatively close, but now the villagers are having to move off their gold mine. He really doesn't want to be fighting here because his mass is just not going to be enough. Those settlers are going to get caught in the crossfire. Oh, those Ulans are going to make short work of it. I mean, at this stage, maybe he's using it as sort of a meat shield to try and do as much damage to the army as possible, but I still don't think that's going to be enough.
Don't think it is. He's leading up the army, but they're
And more Ulans coming in from the north. Wow, I think that's going to seal the GG. So many Ulans in the GG.
Wow.
Cool.
Julian is on fire right now.
Julian is on fire right now, and wow, I'm not quite sure. I expected this game to potentially be a half-an-hour game, but yeah, Julian just picking his moments perfectly. Didn't even neither side really went for any semi-FF builds. They just went straight for the fortress, and I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but like I said, Dutch want to get into H3 as quickly as possible, right? So they can start contesting the skirmisher mass. But, if they build a few pikes, that helps their build. That gives them a few XP. It also gives them some anti-cav as well as the routers, and they can kind of form a good meat shield whilst the routers are firing behind them. Maybe that would have been a better option, but yeah. Not really sure about the saloon either. It didn't really do much other than give him a small gold trickle the entire game. I probably would have liked to seen some Jaegers and Black Riders shipped from the saloon because I believe he could make both of those units. So yeah. I feel like he didn't utilize the saloon as well as he could have.
Yeah, I think he just wanted the saloon to defend the potential raid which could have been coming. Because gold is easier to spend than wood, as such. And making 5 crabbats is something else than making 5 pikes, which could have been the wood you could have used for another bank or another house, or your future stable or barracks, or market upgrades, or buildings that could have been sieged down by the Ulans, or potential aggression.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there. I think he used it as a as a means to potentially protect against any kind of big raids or any rushes. However, he just he didn't need it in the end. Therefore, it added as a nice gold trickle for the entire game. So yeah, that's a good shout there, Nicius. Wow, so 3-0 to Julian. Got the hat trick at the moment. We will see what the next. So we got Italy versus Malta. Interesting.
Oh, but other way around this time.
So it looks like they do potentially then have to. Do they have to have both picks then? Do they have to utilize both of the Knights of the Mediterranean picks? Okay, we're going to get that checked because that'd be interesting if Mini has gone for Malta arbitrarily without being, without it being a compulsory issue. So yeah, but if that's the case, then yeah, we'll see what he's got in his pocket.
Let's hope for a minimal comeback.
I would love to see that. I also want to sleep tonight and have a decent bedtime. So
I would also love it.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Because I might can cast the other series too. Because I have to work and like wake up in 6 hours.
I mean, well, I don't feel for you, mate. Rather you than me. I actually have a wedding to go to tomorrow. I don't have to get up at crack of dawn for that, so that's not too bad. So I will be having a very merry old time tomorrow. Whilst we're in a little bit of a down turn, I'll just give a shout out again to TACCAF and to Microsoft for sponsoring this crazy tournament. Thank you very much again for this 9K Kings of the Old World tournament. So shout out to TACCAF and Microsoft for that.
Yeah, and all this would have been possible without you and the community. You all stay strong together.
Precisely. Thank you to everyone watching as well. Hey, looks like we're about to kick off then.
Yeah. All right, so we have on the right-hand side Minimoult as a color red, with the perfect matching flag with Marta, with hopefully a great comeback. And on the other side, on the northwest side of the map, we have Julian, currently on a 3-0 streak, with Italy. Gonna see if this OP Italy gonna win the game, or if Malta will outscale as last game.
Well, like we saw with game 1, it took some really good micro from Julian to win with the Malta civilization, to flank those falconets like we saw, because that tends to be the deal breaker in this game. One thing that Malta struggles with, particularly, up until the mid-age 3 game, before they can really have the eco to make culverins, is how they deal with falconets, right? So civilizations that get falconets out early, such as the Ottomans or the Spanish, even Italy, they struggle with dealing with those falconets because generally their composition is expos or musketeers or cav, right? And the only way they can realistically deal with it is through culverins, some good cavalry micro, or even some fixed guns. But fixed guns are very expensive, and they're not always reliable. So it's going to be interesting, I think, here how Mini is going to deal with those early falconets.
Yeah, and those fixed guns are sometimes really clunky to use. They sometimes don't attack targets that you let them target to. From my testing, at least.
Yeah, I believe these two, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe these two have actually played in the tournament against each other already. Is that right?
I'm not sure about it.
I think they might have done, and I think Mini came out on top. But
maybe this is qualifiers. Could have been possible.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I do. I've got some brain fog, but so this is interesting turn of events. If that is the case, and then I believe Mini won. It was close though. If I remember.
Minimoult taking the trailer. Nice silver steal. There's only 40 coin, but every single little matters.
Exactly. Every little counts. Yeah, really nice pickup for Mini there. And I think he's going to need every help he can get in this matchup.
Okay, so Minimoult style looking pretty dicey. Little late game cards in here with refrigeration, with Royal Mint, with the H4 middle card, as well as the Xebec. A really strong shipment for water. A really strong ship. Even stronger than the frigate. And if you have frigate, it's also transform all your frigates into this Xebec. Really strong card. Go ahead.
I was going to say, whenever I've played Malta, I've been in two minds about that card. I can't make it. You're right, it is strong, and I believe they're stronger than frigates. But it's 250 for one card. It turns all the other frigates into Zebacs. I feel like frigates have. I don't know if the Xebec even has a. Does it have a special ability to shoot? I don't know if it does. I don't believe it does.
I forgot actually.
And generally, when you make frigates, frigates have that offline support. They have that special ability which can take down falconets. Sometimes I'm a little bit in two minds. I need to experiment more with that Zebek card, but I'm not overly keen on that. I mean, I would have to be convinced otherwise that that's a more worthwhile card, because it does cost as well. There is a cost shipment element to it. So I'd have to be persuaded that that's better than just sending in a frigate. Yeah. I think we will see again. This game, it looks like Mini is macroing towards German tongue. I think we will see German tongue coming in here. Going to go for the 450 wood, which in age 1 is a huge amount of resources to go for. But, you know, it does give you that commandery, which is essentially a tanky outpost, and it does give you two German settlers. So it's a very good card, but it takes a little while for it to pay off, in my opinion. So we'll see what he decides to do. This tournament, especially in the finals, what I've tended to see with multiplayer is people are going for the German tongue. They're kind of FFing behind it, so they're also going for the Fortress Age relatively quickly behind the German tongue, which is interesting because, again, you know, it's a huge resource card that slows them down and it takes a while to pay off. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Mini decides to do here. I think we might see some extended age 2 play though.
It's a sort of agreed fast fortress. You can put it in a way, because you're essentially sending 4 villagers in age 1, and the option to train even more of them, sort of a second TC. Because Malta doesn't have access to any will shipments. And we also see Julian picking up for a dog.
Yeah, Julian going for some early water play. Going for the Fuzi card first, which, you know, it tends to be the general build order for Italy. However, going for 2 architects as well, that's interesting. Not actually queuing any villagers, but going for 2 architects and continue to make bows. I did notice from Mini that he hasn't gone for German tongue, even though he was macroing heavy on wood. He decided to go for the 2 TPs instead. Getting steel traps now as well. Going for Stagecoach, I believe. And shipping both the 700 wood and 600 wood. So looks like he's going to go for, you know, sort of maybe a dual bow pike comp here. So putting some early pressure on whilst having the 2 TP Stagecoach eco behind this, as opposed to, you know, relying on the German tongue for his economy. So yeah, this is I really like this play by Minimoult here. Can we have a quick look to see if Minimoult has actually scouted the water play by Julian, because that would be interesting to know. He
actually does know, but he does see the bar above the fish, because the water is already explored, so you can look on the fish, and when the fish is begin gathered on, you see the bar, and the opponent sees it as well. Exactly. So he knows there are some people on the map.
That's really nice. Going straight for the TP with 5 pikes. I like this play. So if Minimoult's smart, he will see the bar. Although he doesn't see the dock, he will see the resource level of that fish that the boats are going for. So he will have identified that, and he will understand that he's going for a water boom. So, you know, probably thinks his luck's in here. So that's going to slow Julian down if Julian wants to go for the age. Wigner Court coming in from Mini here. So although he's rushing, he is got a really good economy behind this. Wigner Court and dual Stagecoach. So he's going to have a good economy to back this up. I really like this play by Minimoult here. That TP is going to go down. So, you know, that's 200 wood. That's, you know, no XP coming in for Julian. And that's actually bigger than people might think. You know, taking down that TP essentially for free at 7 minutes of the game is a really nice pickup for Minimoult. I like this play.
And on this map, when you upgrade 1 TP line, it counts for everything, on land as well as water. So this is potentially a Stagecoach TP that will burn down.
That's right. And Mini's also on 3 TPs now, so he's also got his TP, his waterline TP. So yeah, that's really nice by Mini. Gonna have a strong economy behind this. We'll see how long he plays extended age 2 for. Looks like Julian struggling to get enough gold, although he has shipped it, so he will be getting it very shortly. Gonna be going up to age 3 now, making a few expos of himself to help defend against this push. But Julian gonna be going up very soon. I like this play. Going for like a semi kind of dock FF here. So he's gonna have a strong economy whilst being in the fortress stage.
Blazing with the bishop. Adventurer. Okay, so he's not going for the greedy edge up, he's going for the safe one. which gives him 12 Pavis CS, I believe, with the Advanced Politics card. And I believe that Minimoults are attempting to do the same. Applying early pressure, edging up behind. He has all the TPs on coin. Gathering a lot of food in coin. Not training any units. But going for a semi himself.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the amount of resources that Minimoult is stacking. I mean, it looks like he's had a shipment for a while now, so he could have sent 700 gold a long time ago now and used that to age up. Is putting all his TPs on gold, so he does clearly want to get into the... Okay, he's just sold a load of food, so that's definitely the right play. So Julian's just got up to Fortress Age now, so Mini really needs to scamper up into Fortress Age himself as quickly as possible. His army's been really whittled down now, whilst Julian's going to be able to go out on the push. I mean, Mini could have been aging up, you know, at least, what, sort of 30 seconds quicker? Which is a massive shame because he could have had, what he needs to do, in my opinion, he needs to get up to age 3, and he really needs to, I would like to see a fixed gun in front of his base here. And that would mean that Julian, you know, would have to maybe even build culverins or lots of falconets to you know, really take down that fixed gun. Maybe even a fort from Mini as well, and really just secure his place on the map. He does need to think about the water as well, so that's going to be in the back of his mind as well. How's he going to deal with the water play from Julian? Because if he lets that get out of control, Julian's just going to run away with the economy here.
Another thing is that as soon as Minimoult hits the Fortress Age, Julian, on the other hand, will also almost be able to hit to the Industry Age, because he's not queuing up any units. He has sent the 1,500 resource crates, and as we can see, it's perfectly macroing for the Industry Age. So when Minimoult finally hits the Fortress Age, Julian already has been clicked up to the Industry Age by then.
Yeah, and like we said, he's macroing beautifully here, and he is going to be going to the Industrial Age very shortly. And this is what we talk about. This is how Italy have been playing. You know, I'm about rank 40 on the 1v1 ladder, and certainly, so I play a lot of the top 100 players. And what I've been seeing a lot on the ladder is Italy, and a lot of these players, you know, doing exactly what Julian is doing right now. Maybe not so much the water play, but really just going FF, building a few musketeers or a few bows to defend the Rus, and then going straight into the Industrial Age, because Italy just feel comfortable doing that, and their kind of macro just seems to naturally synergize well with that style. So, you know, for all those crazy Age 4 shipments, yeah, this is going to be really difficult for Mini to defend. I'm not sure if Mini's going to decide to go Industrial himself. It doesn't look like he is. We'll see what he's going to make. Has got an artillery foundry up. So maybe he wants to make some falconets, I would suggest.
Yeah, either falconets or culverins. He is shipping with Xebec. So you will see how strong this ship really
so your
is.
favorite card's coming in.
Yay.
Oh, like I said, you know, I could be convinced if this is the right card to send as opposed to a frigate. So we'll see what the potential of these Zebecs are. And well, we'll see what this one does and how effective it is at destroying those docks as well. Expo Mouse coming from Mini. He is down on score and really hasn't done anything wrong. He's still got a decent economy. You got to remember, he's had 3 TP Stagecoach almost the entire, you know, from Age 2. So really, you know, doesn't have a bad eco. It's just Italy, you know, getting those free villager techs, having some of the water here, you know, just being able to turtle in his base with the Lombards, getting any resource he wants. Yeah, this is really difficult for Mini here.
Yeah, I'm pressuring both land and water. So solid 10% or 25% of the economy has been idle now.
Yeah, if we take a quick look at the Zebec, because I think the chat are definitely going to see that Zebec in action here.
It has
it is
actually broadside attack.
It does. Oh, okay. It's an interesting boat. It's definitely got a beautiful look to it as well. So maybe it's worth the 250 gold just for the way it looks. Papal Lance is coming out. Wow, that's going to be huge. He only has expos. I think he's going to run it towards the Zebec, and hopefully the Zebec can pick those up. Or have they got their bus tickets? They have, and I think they're going to pop in there. Beautiful, beautiful micro by Mini. Zebek, wow, gonna do decent damage as well. Who needs anti-cav when you've got ships, eh?
Yeah, totally. It's pretty fast as well. There's movement speed.
Yeah.
A little faster than a frigate, than a cargo.
Interesting, interesting. So yeah, I mean, Mini having trouble just taking down one of those Papal Lancers. Such a strong unit. Segleri's coming out now as well with the 2 Papal Bombards. Wow, now this is, like we're saying, this is the big power spike from Italy. And this is where just this huge mass comes out of almost nowhere. And it's like, how is Mini going to deal with this?
Yes, exactly. His only chance is to make Cobrins to abuse his strong crossbows if he has invested any cards in it. But the problem is that Julian has Papal Guards with a deflect ability, 2 heavy bombards here, Papal Bombards, as well as a mix of now veteran Pavziers and Berserkleri, which is a hefty force to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, Minimoult hasn't really done much wrong, and he's 10k scored down. He's gone for Vitarosa and 3 TC, so, you know, he does want to have a good eco behind this, but he's going to need to deal with this army mass first, and he can't even deal with the Papal Lancers, let alone, you know, the Berserkleris and the Bombards. Yeah, Mini needs to really... I'm really not sure what he can build here. I just don't think there's anything in his arsenal to really be able to cope with this. The Culverins coming out as well now as well, so not even Culverins of Mini is going to be enough to you know, to beat this back, and Falconets himself. So they're, you know, Julian really leaving no answer for Mini here.
Yeah, like everything you possibly counter, he has a counter for it. He has handicap, he has Cav himself, he has Bombards, he has Culverins, he has everything.
Now we just have an unlimited supply of cards for Italy, and it's just all 4 cards. Yeah, just absolutely destroying playing. Mini, you know, he really tried to do some early damage against Italy, but it's really difficult to punish Italy just because of the way their buildings are and how much HP they have, you know, how quickly they can age up. Yeah, so, you know, Mini has definitely not played badly. It's just, I feel like, you know, Julian has just played, you know, the build order from Italy perfectly, and it's really, Mini has just really struggled.
That bounce actually killed a Culverin. It was insane, if you saw it or not.
Yeah, I mean, Culverin play, you know, it's definitely the right play for Mini. He needs Culverins, otherwise those Papal Bombards are just not going to go down. However, you know, the four shipment of Culverins from Julian himself is just makes the counter so difficult. Villagers going down for Mini now as well, and look at the speed of those Berserkleris, like the fastest skirmishes in the game. They're good for raiding, you know, they're good for running away. They're such a good unit. The Culverins getting attacked. Yeah. We're gonna have a bit of a Culverin war going on here, but the Papal Lancers are popping on the Expos. He really has no anti-cav. Just Julian has an answer for everything here by Mini. 11k score down. He just doesn't have an answer here. It's just too many units.
Yeah, too many units, too many H4 units. Outmassed, outclassed, outsmarted, outplayed.
Amen. And there's the GG.
And that's a victory.
Wow, I mean, you know, that's Italy, boys and girls. You know, they are very strong, and you know, Minimoult tried to find an answer, but just unfortunately couldn't. And I think almost the boat boom by Julian was almost a bit of a bait for Mini, because Mini invested a lot, like that 200, that one card in H3, which costs 250 gold. That's a pretty big investment, and Julian really didn't have that many boats on the map. So yeah, I'm not sure if he needed to ship the Zebek. Maybe that could have been a fixed gun. Maybe he could have made another fixed gun as well at the FB, massed a few more Expos and Pikes, and maybe, just maybe, he could have held on to his forward barracks. But yeah, I mean, it's just there's so many units by Italy. They can make every type of unit, and they can ship every type of unit. So yeah, just really gave Mini no opportunity to counter.
Yeah, I think the fixed gun would have been the better play. Like you put it between the shoreline and the native teepee, you create a little choke. So it's not easy to get access to the fixed gun. And you also could have had a force to deal with the buildings from Italy.
Yeah, I mean, GG. I think it's best of 7, right? So is that GG to Julian? Is he through now? And Minimoult's out, I believe.
Yeah, Julian won the round.
Yes.
He's one
Sorry.
of
Yeah. It was 4-0, right?
Yeah, 4-0.
Yeah. So yeah, well played to Julian. It's no easy task just to get one game off Minimoult, let alone 4 in a row. Each game was pretty close though, so maybe bar the last game, and I think that was just unfortunate by Mini. Just got maybe out Civ microed there. So yeah, really strong dominating play by Julian there. He is definitely a contender to win this. But so was Mini, so was Mini. So yeah, be interesting to see how Julian gets on in his next game. But well played to Minimoult as well. Sad to see you go. Yeah, so I think me and Nicius will take a quick break, guys, whilst we get the next series up. So we will see you shortly.
Yep. See you in 10 minutes.